Hi everyone, welcome back. It indeed is Monday, just that quickly back to the real world, one of course in which we would all perhaps like to be in just a little bit less at this time. That's just not how life works. Life indeed does go on as we continue to worry about the lives of so many who are infected by COVID-19 and continue to worry about ourselves catching, of course, the virus, which has swept the entire world. It's the 23rd day of March. Glad to have you with us. We'll jump right into COVID-19 updates from, of course, over the course of your weekend from our governor, and just as of a few moments ago from our governor, and some recent thoughts as well, as still trying to get some clarification, and we have to the best of our ability on in regards to the stores that have been ordered closed, but however can remain open if they can meet certain guidelines. The governor last evening in his 5 o'clock address yesterday detailing what was then a total of 103 positive cases of COVID-19 in Kentucky, saying that over 2,000 Kentuckians had been tested for the disease. They are also able to give an average age of those who have tested positive as around 53 years of age. It has not been age discriminatory. However, there is, of course, a very younger age which appears to be least affected thus far. Some other statistics also say that about 6% of those who have tested positive have had to have been hospitalized in intensive care as a result. His most recent order, following up on Fridays, in which he suggested that all schools remain out until at least August the 20th, was the closing of all non-essential businesses by 8 o'clock tonight. That immediately set about some discussion as to what exactly falls under non-essential. The initial list by the governor's office required some clarification. There was some, and there still continues to be tonight, in regards to non-essential businesses, which do not necessarily have to fully shut down their operations. That's a point we wish to make tonight. But they do have to comply with the guidelines that have been set forth by our state and public health personnel. In that most recent executive order issued by the governor last night, he did state that all in-person retail businesses that aren't life-sustaining are ordered closed effective by 8 o'clock this evening, with life-sustaining retail businesses allowed to stay open, which would include grocery stores, pharmacies, banks, hardware stores, and any other business that provides staple goods. However, those retail businesses that were ordered closed by 8 that are not life-sustaining can stay open if and only if they provide local delivery and or curbside service or online or telephone orders, with the executive order also offering some other clarification in regards to saying that carry-out, delivery, and drive-through food and beverage sales, of course, obviously can continue as per the last executive order. But even with all of that in mind, there was still some clarification needed, for which I went to Public Health Director Pete Shepard earlier today, also Mayor of Sagersville, who says that they are monitoring the situation and local businesses and making sure that everyone is indeed following these orders, with one location earlier today shut down, which should have been shut down sometime a week ago. But first, an update on COVID-19 testing being done here in Sagersville and Magoffin County.
We've had tested, I've heard of 2 more tested today. All was tested last week have been negative. So everybody that's been tested last week come back negative. So Magoffin County right now is a clean slate as far as that, as the test goes.
Any continued reminders or advice for those seeking testing, worried about testing, availability of testing here locally?
If you're not having symptoms, and you're not sick, you're not going to be tested. So, you're not going to be tested if you're a healthy person, if you're not having symptoms. If you are having symptoms, and you do need to call the health provider first, as we've been telling you, and get information from them, and they will tell you where you should come on in for testing or just stay at home that you're not qualified.
One of the most significant recent developments was the governor's announcement yesterday in regards to the additional closure of businesses, and that has left a lot of questions, and the list has continued to be defined, but still we're trying to get some certainty out there. What's the easiest way for us to understand what businesses have been ordered closed, and what can stay open going further?
Well, most essential businesses that have some purpose for the people that have to have. Businesses like clothing stores, jewelry stores, things like that nature, they have been ordered really not to close, but they can't have people inside the store. They can do curbside service if they want to sell something online and bring it out to the person in the car and sell it to them, give it to them, or anything like that. It's mostly to keep traffic down and keep people from being in contact with everybody. That's the main key right now, is try to limit contact with anybody that might have come in contact with the virus, and that's the main thing. Stay at home. If you don't have this out, stay at home. What they're trying to do is just get traffic down in the cities and places where there's a lot of people that would come in for really not an essential item or essential need.
So just to be clear, all in-person businesses that are not life-sustaining have been ordered closed unless they can provide curbside or delivery services. Is that correct?
That's correct. If they've got a drive-through window like the restaurants do, or if they want to do business and come out to a car and deliver some kind of merchandise that they're selling, that's perfectly fine. But that people cannot get out of the car and go in that establishment and hang around and shop and look for things that they need. They have to stay in their vehicle, and it has to be a curbside service.
I understand that you've had to send authorities out just to investigate some businesses which might not be following the guidelines. Just a summarization, I'm not sure if you want to or have to mention those in particular, but just any words on that particular topic?
No, it's just if you've got a business and you've been told to not be in business or not have your doors open, then you will be reported to the health department, and we will give you a letter of cease and desist. And if not, we have the authority to turn it over to the county judge's office, where he has the authority to take it to circuit court, and you could be fined and jailed if you violate this law.
So, have you had any occurrences to that extreme yet, or what have you had?
No, we've had some calls and complaints of people being open or going to stay open. But what we will do first is we will notify you, either the health department or a police officer or the sheriff's department will notify you that you need to close. And if you don't close after that, you will be given an official document from the health department telling you to cease and desist. And then if you don't do after that, then the authorities will be able to close you down.
Anything else before we go?
No, just common sense. Everybody stay at home. Let's have a good week. The less people out, the less traffic is out, the less time you come in contact, the better off we're going to be. Magoffin County is one of the few counties we haven't had any positive tests. There's more testing positive around us now, and we're one of the few that hasn't. So, just stay at home, use good common sense, wash your hands, and we'll get through all this.
Now, in his most recent update, possibly still ongoing, but beginning shortly after 5 o'clock this evening, we went from 103 positive cases to, that being last night, to 124 as of 5 o'clock today, adding another 21 new confirmed cases in various parts of the state. The closest now, I believe, to us, a confirmed case out of Martin County, as was acknowledged by the Martin County Department of Health this morning. Kentucky has also seen its fourth COVID-19 death, that coming by the passing of an 82-year-old woman in Fayette County. Also in his evening address, the governor, among other things, was now asking that not just as he did on yesterday at 10 a.m., that churches ring their bells daily at 10 a.m. in signification of unity and hope. He also said that it is essentially, we need to read into this, not his exact words but mine, but he did say that it is in every county, regardless as to whether or not there are positive tests that say it's in Magoffin or any other county. He says, indeed, there's no reason to believe anything else other than that COVID-19 is in every county and just yet to be confirmed by testing. He also mentioned another Kentuckian, a Louisville man who had to be forced into isolation. I believe that's the second time in the Commonwealth that has happened. We hope that is not the case any longer. I also need to add that following that interview with Sagersville Mayor Pete Shepard, I did receive a phone call from the mayor confirming that he had to have Sagersville police go to a pool hall on Route 40, the name of which I do not have, but where it had come to the office and the judge's office's attention earlier today that it appeared to be activity going on, and indeed it appeared as though operations were on as usual, even though that establishment should have closed its doors last week per the most recent, at that point, executive order. It had not. There was poker, I believe, and something else going on in there. Several individuals had gathered inside that pool hall and were continuing to do so, even though it should have been shut down last week. It was shut down by the city and public health department earlier this afternoon as a result. There are, of course, all sorts of other businesses, healthcare providers going to extreme lengths. We'll try to go through those as much as possible as it goes on. Local pharmacies like Fraser's Prater Drugstore, Parkway Pharmacy offering curbside service, bring to your car, things of that nature. Frontier Medical here in Magoffin County, one of several clinics across the Commonwealth which are literally offering drive-through services, even as much as x-rays and testing for COVID-19 at Frontier Medical. The National Guard indeed has been called in. That is just to support. They have been activated, not called in for martial law or anything of that nature, but to support our local and Kentucky health care providers. They wanted to make that very clear. I'll be right back with other local headlines after this. Need an oil change? Are your brakes shot? Are you ready to turn the wick up on your diesel or lift up and accessorize your 4x4? Or get that dent fixed once and for all? Then call the professionals at Black Smoke Performance for all of your maintenance needs and auto body repair, from insurance collisions to full restoration projects. Black Smoke Performance on May Drive in Dixie of Sagersville, 3498785. Has spring ever arrived at the seasonal shop? If you're tired of those gray, rainy days, you need to come in because the shop is filled wall to wall with spring arrivals. The new Charlie Page spring line is filled with beautiful colors, prints, and styles for everyone. They've got accessories for every occasion, new jewelry, bags, and shoes. And spring is the perfect time for some redecorating or adding a few new accessories to your home. And their home decor is some of the most beautiful they've ever had. Farmhouse, traditional, equestrian, rustic, they have it all. So come into the shop and let them help you add to your home. And remember, they also offer wedding and baby registry and free local delivery at the seasonal shop in downtown Salyersville. With decades of experience and happy customers all over Kentucky, All Pro Gutter Works and Construction is now proud to offer long-term and 0% financing on their home improvements and home construction. That's new windows and floors, new bathrooms and kitchens, new roofs, siding, decks and porches, new turnkey homes and offices, and of course, continuous guttering in 21 colors. Locally, family-owned and operated, and waiting on your next project and phone call. All Pro Gutter Works. It can be one of the hardest parts of being a parent. You can beg them, bribe them, hold them down and try to force them, and sometimes you still can't get them to take their medicine. Well, problem solved at Parkway Pharmacy with Flavor X. Let your kids customize their medicine with some of the best flavors that really do taste great, and it's totally free with your child's prescription at Parkway Pharmacy. So stop the suffering, theirs and yours, for free, and get your Flavor X flavored medicines at Parkway Pharmacy in Salyersville. Don't drive or let your family drive in this or this before doing this. Stopping at Conley Tire in Staffordsville for brakes, oil, alignment, and of course, tires. Thousands of tires in stock every day to fit anything, with 6 months no interest financing and over 33 years of quality service with a smile. Conley Tire in Staffordsville. If your spring projects include gravel, rock, sand, or drainage pipe, your dollar will go farther at Tomahawk Feed and Farm Supply here in Salyersville. It's always in stock and ready for pickup and delivery. And now there's 2 locations for all of your feed and farm needs. Tomahawk has the region's largest inventory and lowest prices on all pet and livestock feed, gates, fencing, and everything your farm needs. In Salyersville off 114 at Red Light number 4, and in West Liberty on Liberty Road behind the Ford store. Tomahawk Feed and Farm Supply. Creekside Stitching and Feed is the place to go for all of your custom embroidery needs. Shirts, caps, jackets, and more. And they've got the best prices on value pack dog food, blue ribbon beef mix, kickin' chicken, and shell and cracked corn. And premium quality gates, hay rings, and bunk feeders, plus metal carports and garages as low as $1,400 installed. For all of your embroidery, feed, and farm supplies, Creekside Stitching and Feed, 1 mile up Bear Branch off of Route 30. Before we get back to some other COVID-19 related news and information, I do have something else I want to pass along to you real quick. And 2 things, actually, and it's one that, this is not only the nightly news program, but also, of course, the newspaper, the Sagersville Independent, and the Big Sandy News. And we are, of course, tasked and dedicated among and above everything else to bring you the local news each and every weeknight and during the week in our weekly publications. But it is also a small business that we own and operate here. Businesses and like others out there who are having to shut their doors or are seeing their revenues just completely vanish. Yeah, I have the same concern and worry as do you. Concern for our employees who are now currently working from home, how long we're going to be able to keep that up, keeping business going. Your News Today doesn't require much, just myself with you each and every weeknight, so that's not an issue. But Independent and Big Sandy News have payrolls, they have personnel, and of course that is starting to become a real concern for us as advertising, as you can well imagine with businesses closed or unable to really operate and seeing no revenue themselves. Well, they're not able to spend any advertising dollars with us, and that of course is the majority of our income. So we are closely concerned and worried about that. And I, at this hour, am not able to offer any solace from Washington, where again, it was a Democratic vote that kept the passage from. However, Democrats are arguing that the more than $1 trillion package, some saying upwards of 1.8, close to $2 trillion package, as proposed by the Republicans, did too much for large corporations and not enough for workers in not just Kentucky but across the nation. Republicans are accusing them of playing politics and using the entire situation as leverage to try to attach to their own bill a lot of wish list items or political waste. Regardless, you can read this and go back and forth, as do the parties and as is our nation's government at this hour, until your head spins. The bottom line is that no aid package has been passed, and it doesn't appear as though there's going to be one in the next 24 hours. At this time there may be, while Americans sit and wait and wonder if indeed help is just around the corner, to which I have no answer at this time. A road closure, a significant one in that a portion of 2019 is closed for the indefinite future at mile point 3.9 after a slip that became noticeable, then grew, has now grown to the point of no traffic being allowed. It was originally cut down to one lane, but as of today, the Department of Transportation is saying that they are having to put a detour around this stretch of Magoffin County Road. This is actually a picture of the slip that District 10 sent out into us last week when the road was still technically open. And then you compare that with the ones they took and sent out as of earlier today. Well, it's obviously gotten even worse. So they have completely closed down this section of 2019 just west of Buffalo, between 3334 and Bloomington. The road had already been cut, as I said, down to one lane, but it's just quickly deteriorating and has gotten much worse, and it's no longer safe for anyone to travel around. So you're going to see signs that say road closed. That means road closed. Be sure not to try to circumnavigate those for your own safety. As of right now, there's no timetable given as to when the road will be repaired and reopened. They are right now scheduling drilling contractors and others to make those repairs as soon as possible. But for the meantime, drivers need to use US 460 on either end of 2019 as a detour. Road closed signs and barricades will be posted if they have not already. But there will not be a signed detour. So, as most everyone who is familiar with the area knows, but you might need to have any visitors, which you really shouldn't be having many thereof, up to date on the detour around this particular break. We'll keep you up to date on their plans to make the repairs and get the road back open as soon as possible. Not much happening on your community calendar for this evening, except to remind you that indeed we have a community calendar. A lot of announcements that you might find on our community calendar to also be put out in this week's edition of the Sagersville Independent, so be sure and look forward to that. I do, however, have, following a brief reminder, funeral service announcements brought to you as they are nightly by the Magoffin County Funeral Home. I don't have any for tonight, but I've got a few set for in a few days. But just a reminder, birthdays and anniversaries, let's celebrate them as much as ever. Looking for anything to celebrate and celebrating grand fashion as much as we can nowadays. And if you've got one that you'd like to have included on our community calendar, it's here for you nightly. Just get that information to us any way you can. Phone, fax, email, standard mail, Facebook, whatever it takes. That, of course, includes announcements as well for your group, church, or nonprofit or organization. Going on to tonight's funeral service announcements, graveside services were held earlier today for 83-year-old Shelvia Jean Prater of Lexington, but formerly of Sagersville. She passed away on Thursday of last week, the daughter of the late Frank and Hazel Henry Prater. She was preceded in death by one sister, Jolene Conley, and is survived by sister Carol Bailey of Sagersville, as well as a host of other family and friends. Again, graveside services held earlier today for Shelvia Jean Prater. 77-year-old Chalmer Douglas Salyers of Sagersville passed away on Saturday. The son of the late Theodore and Mildred Caudill Salyers, he is survived by his wife Carolyn Salyer and daughter Sheila Marie Wood, as well as brothers Ernest Theodore Salyer, Thomas Edward Salyers, Henry Eugene Salyers, Robert Paul, Jimmy Darrell, and Harold Keith Salyers, as well as sisters Bonnie Diana Bailey, Frida Russell, and Angelia Ward. A private graveside service for immediate family will be held this Wednesday from the Salyers Cemetery at Flat Fork.
I'm Dr. Jason Zimmerman at Highlands ARH, the healthcare system of Appalachia.
At Sagersville National Bank, they know your house is much more than your home. It's an investment, and for many of us, the biggest we'll ever make. And whether it's for needed repairs and maintenance, or a new addition or renovation to give you some more room and more equity, let Sagersville National Bank deal with all the financial work and worry. Real and real competitive, hometown, homegrown, home improvement loans at Sagersville National.
SSI and disability cases are harder to win these days. You need all the help you can get. If the government has turned you down, I will not. Many factors are considered when a claim is being processed, like your age, education, physical, and mental disabling conditions. When it comes time to winning your disability case, you should not face a federal judge alone. You need an attorney who is experienced, determined, hardworking, knowledgeable, and dedicated to helping you win benefits that you deserve. If you need help with your SSI or disability case, call me, Donald Wayne McFarland, and let me go to work for you.
At work, we do a lot of live shows with crowds. I used to sit up there and not really know who was looking at me. I was finally tired of contacts and glasses, tired of paying for contacts, and I just decided I need to get these eyes fixed. Able Eyes was great. If someone asked me if they should get LASIK, I would absolutely recommend it. At first, like many people, I'm hesitant, but after going to Able Eyes and they walk me through it, I know that it's a quick and painless process, and I recommend going to Able Eyes. They were the best.
Right now, you can take advantage of their lowest prices of the year at $1,800 per eye.
No other carrier provides service and signal to the mountains like the mountain's very own Appalachian Wireless, now providing service to Knox, Bell, and Whitley counties with retail locations in Middlesboro, Pineville, and Barberville. Appalachian Wireless offers a dependable network, exceptional customer service with a service that goes wherever you travel nationwide. We are local people serving local people, bringing today's best technology on the latest devices. Better service, bigger savings. That's today's Appalachian Wireless.
Magoffin County Heating, Cooling, and Refrigeration with professional, licensed, and certified commercial and residential service technicians that can maintain and repair all manufacturers with new and old installation and financing available. Serving Magoffin, Morgan, Lawrence, Martin, Johnson, Floyd, and Breathitt counties. Magoffin County Heating, Cooling, and Refrigeration, 349-1058 or 225-6779. A reminder for you, the Magoffin County cleanup campaign began today, and coinciding with this first week, the Sagersville citywide cleanup campaign is also now underway. While it was flooding and not the coronavirus that initially postponed Magoffin County cleanup and the Sagersville citywide cleanup. It is underway, and it started this morning. The citywide cleanup has been set for this week for all Sagersville residents. This week is also the Magoffin County cleanup campaign designated for those who live in Magisterial and Voting District 2. Next week, it will be those in District 1, the following week in District 3. This is your opportunity to get out all that debris that you can't normally set out, and that debris as well, and garbage, but put it out at the end of your driveway, and it will be collected. If you want to take items to the transfer station on 460, you can during any of these 3 weeks of collection and not be charged. They cannot take hazardous waste, construction debris, and any containers with liquids like paint or things of that nature, or household waste. That if you have any questions, call the judge's office at 349-2313. So, with that, there's always, or at least usually, one burning question on a lot of minds, including mine, which, elections come around every 4 years, for the most part, as far as voting in your magisterial district, and sometimes the lines get a little blurred as to which district we're actually in. Well, maybe it's not the lines that are blurred. Maybe it's the memories that are blurred. You only vote every other 4 years. For some of us, it's kind of hard to remember, especially for residents in Ward 2, because as you'll see here, well, Ward 2, and I'll explain that in just a second, kind of out there on its own, but included in District 1. So, the pink represents District 1. The blue represents District 2. The green, and mostly southern portion of the county, represents District 3 in Magoffin County. Ward 2 is that little extension of the pink, which is District 1, kind of right in the middle of Magoffin County, which, of course, is a large portion of the Sagersville city limits. Ward 1, thus, included in District 1. District 1 represented in the pink or red, District 2 in the blue, and the green representing District 3. In other news tonight, news about the news. Just a quick update on one of the things that we've been working on here in-house today to try to see that we're able to reach you by print, electronic means, and any and all means for as long as this pandemic lasts. We have long discussed here since I bought the Sagersville Independent and talk about it at times until my head hurts, and then just kind of put it on the back burner until we pick it back up, and it seems to have the same end. But we are going to right now, even though it's something that will need to be a subscription-based product somewhere down the line to some degree, whether it's free with a regular subscription to the Independent or just a few dollars a month or a year on its own, I don't know. But as of right now, we have found means to go ahead and get an online edition, a full online edition of the Sagersville Independent and Big Sandy News available to anyone who wants and needs to see it. Online editions, complete full editions of the newspaper online is something that we have wrestled with since I bought the Sagersville Independent over a couple of years ago. Putting free, albeit limited headlines on Facebook is something that we still do, even though it's certainly not cost-effective for us to do that, because we're essentially giving away the news that it costs you 50 cents to pick up at the newsstand, or, per subscription to have it mailed to you in county or out of county each and every year. The problem has just been finding the right technology, the easiest way to set up accounts where it can be paid for rather easily, to set up an online edition of the paper that brings you the entire paper, not just the headlines, but the full sports page, the full, which of course is one of the most popular things that we have, our historical page brought to you by Grover Arndt Attorney at Law, and all of the ads and everything that is in the complete paper that you don't get on the website, for example. Finding a way to make it easy to navigate, which is harder on your cell phones, has been something hard to do. But this is what we're going with for right now. And for right now, it's going to be a complete, full, free edition that is still going to be rather hard to view on your phone or small electronic device. But if you're at home on your computer or an iPad, it will certainly be much easier. You can literally scroll down through and see the entire Sagersville Independent, each and every page, front and back, in absolute crystal clear clarity, enlarging it to whatever size you need to see. So this is the format we're going to go with. For now, we're going to post the link each week on our website. We may also put it on some of our social media pages as well. We'll probably go ahead and put the current edition, which is out there on newsstands, on maybe as soon as tomorrow. And then as each week comes out, we'll continue to post links either on our website and or our social media, and you'll be able to click on those and view the entire online edition for free. We're doing this now, of course, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Stores are closing. Some stores are going to remain open where you'll be able to actually still go in. Those are few and far between, and pick up an edition of the Sagersville Independent. But we want to make sure that you have all the information available to you that we're able to put in each week's paper in any form or fashion that we can get it to you. We still encourage and beg of you to pick up a hard copy whenever you can. Keep those subscriptions coming in as often as possible. They do indeed help keep the lights on. And in addition to all of that, we'll also be putting the paper online for you to be able to look and find all of the latest news and announcements, closings, and what have you. Just a couple of other things real quickly. Walmart is planning to close all of its auto centers. They're also going to be putting limits on how much milk, eggs, I hope toilet paper, and baby products that you can purchase to try to make sure that everyone gets some. Senator Rand Paul became the first member of the Senate to test positive for COVID-19. He released a statement today explaining why he was still at the Capitol before and even after his test was taken. He says that he was tested merely out of protocol, so to speak, saying that he had traveled extensively. He was considered at high risk for having a portion of his lung removed some time ago, and that he was tested without any symptoms whatsoever or any illness, or without knowing, as he still doesn't know, who he may have came into contact with. But Rand Paul testing positive for COVID-19. It was just a matter of time and a formality, but the 2020 Olympics have been postponed, likely until next year at the earliest. That's it for the exception, with the exception of your Licking Valley RECC forecast. There is a little sun in there. It's very little, but temperatures looking to be a little more normal too. For the rest of the evening and overnight, mostly cloudy skies and a low of about 44, and nothing more than a light and variable wind out there wrapping up this Monday. Taking us into a Tuesday with showers likely, but only in the afternoon and evening. We'll see a cloudy day for the most part into your Tuesday till about 5 o'clock in the early evening hours, latter afternoon, and that's when shower chances will start to move in to the tune of 60% then, and an absolute likelihood or full-blown 100% chance by tomorrow night. Rainfall amounts early tomorrow, 1/4 of an inch during the overnight, maybe another 3/4 to another inch on top of that. So a good inch of rainfall certainly possible over the course of your Thursday evening and overnight. Highs tomorrow 57, not wavering much for nighttime lows, dipping down to only 51. For your Wednesday, a 30% chance of those showers and rain lingering up until about 9 a.m. and then drying and cloudy for the rest of the day. Again, daytime highs set for right around 57. Nighttime lows will dip down into the low 40s, close to the mid-40s Wednesday night. That's not necessarily indicative of Thursday's temperatures, however, because even though we'll see Wednesday night cloudy skies become gradually partly cloudy and a low of 44, we'll perk back up to about 72 for your Thursday, and for the first time in a long time, what feels like we'll see some sunshine, mostly sunny and 72 degrees on your Thursday. That scenario is short-lived, however. In fact, the next round of showers and thunderstorms rolls in Thursday night, Friday morning to the tune of 40%. For your Friday, still holding on to the 70s, but clouds and the showers to some degree expected for your Friday. Nighttime lows 61 degrees. For your weekend, 74, cloudy, albeit more than likely wet to some degree on your Saturday, with a 70% chance of showers, still holding on to a 50% chance of showers and storms Saturday night. Some good news does come in the forecast. In lieu of Sunday, only a 20% chance of showers and partly sunny skies, low 60s. Monday of next week, 60 and 40 for your high and low, and some clouds above. That's it for tonight. We'll see you back here next time, tomorrow, for more of Your News Today. Stay in, stay safe, and stay tuned.